Interact with us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1, YouTube, Facebook, and tell us what stories you care about. What are your thoughts on how we are approaching those stories? Our sign language interpreter tonight is Lensa Odingo. And straight to our top story, where National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi is tonight assuring Kenyans that government will not introduce new tax in the Finance Bill 2025 to fund the national budget. Addressing a Bunge la Mwananchi forum at Jivanji Gardens in Nairobi, Kenya, Mbadi noted that the government is exploring alternative strategies to raise revenue, including widening the tax base and also prioritizing fiscal discipline, as Trevor Ngendo, who spent time following through that story, now reports.
National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi engaged members of Bunge la Mwananchi in a spirited discussion on the state of the economy and the upcoming 2025-2026 budget. Mbadi acknowledged that past public participation forums have often targeted elite groups, leaving out a majority of ordinary Kenyans.
I respect any opinion, however you put it. Just tell me what you think. Even if you think Mbadi ninafanya kazi bure sana, National Treasury, tell me so that I may consider whether to resign or to continue with my work.
Monday's forum at Jivanji Gardens in Nairobi City Centre provided a rare opportunity for citizens to engage directly with the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary on issues fueling the rising cost of living, debt sustainability and government's taxation policies.
I am really concerned about the well-being of our payslips as the working class.
The finance bill of this year may not have any tax adjustment upwards in terms of rates, which are we cannot overtax Kenyans anymore. We have reached a limit where we are saying no more space for taxation, especially on employment income. You will not see any more taxes on employment income.
The problem we have is, yes, unga has reduced from 250 to 150, but if you have zero in your pocket, you can't afford it even if it's 15 bob.
Kwa nini hujachukua hatua wowote ambaye amepatikana na hatua ya wizi achukuliwe hatua immediately na vitu zake anyang'anywe zote iwe vunzo kwa wengine?
How much took the State House renovation? Is it 10 billion or 2 billion?
Saa hii tumerenovate. So what you need to tell me, don't spend any more money on further renovations, isn't it? Juu hiyo nyumba ukiona saa hii ni mzuri. Imekuwa renovated. Imechukua ile pesa imechukua.
Acknowledging the economic challenges facing many Kenyans, Mbadi underscored the need for tax reforms to enhance revenue collection without stifling economic growth or reducing disposable income for households.
What we want is a friendly KRA, which comes to you and tells you, you know, we have assessed you and you have not paid 80,000. What could have been the problem?
Ikiwa sisi zote wa Kenya tunashiriki, si ile rate tunalipishwa mmoja wetu itapungua? Si itapungua? Basi, na hiyo ndio utaratibu tungependa tuendelee nayo.
Participants emphasized on the need for greater transparency in how public funds are allocated and spent. At the heart of today's discussions here at the Bunge la Mwananchi is a shared desire for real progress and accountability. While there's still some skepticism about the upcoming finance bill, many here feel that this open discussion is a great step in the right direction towards bridging the gap between the government and the public, especially in budget-making process. Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition, Nairobi.
Access now to an item here on security, or better still, the lack of it. A multi-agency team has been formed to rescue 5 chiefs who were missing after they were allegedly ambushed and kidnapped by suspected terrorists at Iresuki village, that's in Mandera County, on Monday in the morning. Police say that the chiefs were traveling in a car to El Work for official duty when they were attacked and hijacked. They were to meet in the area to plan for a scheduled visit by President William Ruto to the region this week. Tilio Marco spent time to find out what happened there and filed the following report.
Wakazi wa tarafa ya Wargadur County ya Mandera usiku huu
We apologize for that. We're going to bring that story once Tilio Marco puts it together for airing. Let's now get into another space where the tribunal investigating suspended judge of the Environmental and Land Court Justice Mohammed Noor Kulo has recommended his reinstatement after clearing him of all the 13 charges, remember, that were leveled against him. Presenting its report to President William Ruto at State House, Nairobi, the judge Omwanga Kiage-led tribunal said that the allegations of gross misconduct, including delay in delivering of rulings and also holding case files, were neither established nor proved. Giverson Maina puts that story in perspective.
After investigations lasting for months, Justice Mohammed Kulo has been cleared of accusations of gross misconduct.
We find that the judge's conduct was not in breach of the Judicial Service Act, Code of Conduct and Ethics Regulations 2020.
Myself and the rest of the people that have a responsibility over this matter will pick it up from there and move it to the next step.
The Environment and Land Court judge was suspended in March 2024 by the President after the Judicial Service Commission upheld accusations by petitioners, amongst them a German investor.
Allegations 1, 2, 3, 12, and 13 were not established. There was delay, but it was satisfactorily explained with reasonable justification and thus did not amount to gross misconduct.
The charges include delaying delivery of rulings and judgments, failure to give explanations for the delay, failing to respond to correspondence from the Chief Justice, and holding a case file, hence denying a party the right to appeal. The Judge Omwenga Kiage-led tribunal found that the accusations did not meet the threshold for removal from office.
Allegation 6 was not proved. The delay in response was due to the Honorable Judge's absence from station, and he responded at the earliest opportunity. Allegation number 7 was not proved. It was not the Honorable Judge's responsibility to issue notices for the delivery of judgments. We therefore, Your Excellency, recommend that Your Excellency do reinstate the Honorable Judge to the office of Judge of the Environment and Land Court.
President William Ruto, while receiving the report, said the recommendations will be implemented, saying all citizens, including judicial officers, are subject to the Constitution and the law, irrespective of their status.
By submitting ourselves to processes that are provided for by the law does not amount in any way to admitting either guilt or breach of whatever provisions of the law.
Giverson Maina, Prime Edition.
Thanks, Giverson, for that report. Now, the story that has led to the formation of a multi-agency team to rescue 5 chiefs who have gone missing after they were allegedly ambushed and kidnapped by suspected terrorists at Eresuku village in Mandera County on Monday morning is now ready. Police say that the chiefs were traveling in a car to Elwak for official duty when they were hijacked. They were there to meet and schedule a plan by the President William Ruto to that region this week. Let's now listen into Tilio Marco's report, which is now ready.
The residents of Wargadu division in Mandera County are tonight a scared lot. Their 5 chiefs are missing after they were allegedly ambushed and kidnapped by suspected terrorists. Mandera South Deputy County Commissioner Tobias Otunga says the chiefs were traveling in a car to Elwak when they were attacked and hijacked at Iresuki village.
They forcibly took control of the car and managed to speed off with all the occupants toward the general direction of Kenya-Somalia border. So when we got the report, we have put together a multi-agency surveillance patrol team led by the KDF, and right now that operation is underway.
The missing chiefs include Mohamed Adawa, Mohamed Hassan, and Assistant Chief Ibrahim Gabou. Others are Senior Chief Abdi Hassan Surau and Mohamed Nur Hache. They were to meet in the area and prepare for a planned visit by President William Ruto to the region this week. The president is expected to tour the northern region for a development tour, where he is also expected to hold a cabinet meeting in Garissa. Tilio Marco for Prime Edition.
Let's now look at a story here from the universities, and police were on Monday forced to lob tear gas to disperse a group of students who had staged a march on the office of the Higher Education Loans Board to express their frustrations over the delay in the disbursement of the students' loan. Meanwhile, the ongoing go slow by lecturers at the Technical University of Kenya disrupted the administration of examinations. The development came even as government announced that it had disbursed 21 billion shillings to help to be advanced to the learners. Here now is that report.
Traffic along the Uhuru Highway was briefly disrupted on Monday as students engaged police in running battles over the advancement of loans. The students had sought answers from the Higher Education Loans Board on why their allocations had been delayed.
Today we're out on the streets to demand for our HELB monies disbursement, which has delayed by almost 1 month, in fact more than a month right now.
But the Treasury Cabinet Secretary, while addressing the public at the Jivanji Gardens, announced that the government had disbursed the loans.
HELB, we have released 21 out of 31. UFB, we have released 8 out of 16. The total is 30 billion that we have released.
The university funding model is currently a subject of litigation. Across town, students at the Technical University of Kenya were left stranded after lecturers refused to invigilate the end of semester examinations.
We were supposed to begin our exams today, and we came here and there was nobody to supervise us. First, we can't do exam when our lecturers are not happy. We demand that our lecturers be sorted, is when we can return and do the exams.
These are internal exams that are only moderated and examined and administered by the lecturers. So any other mode of administering those exams would have been highly illegal.
The tutors who have been on strike for a fortnight are accusing the government of failing to honor a return-to-work formula signed last year.
We did a petition and we addressed 3 arms of government. Number 1, the National Assembly, because they appropriate funds. Number 2, the Minister of Education, because they're the ones who are supposed to do the requisition for the funds. And number 3, Treasury, because these are the people who share the national cake somehow. And we took a petition there.
The lecturers say they will sustain the strike until their demands are met. For Prime Edition, I'm Christine Matunda.
Now, the Southern African Development Community and the East African Community will have a joint summit this Friday and Saturday as well to discuss the conflict in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The summit will be hosted by President Samia Suluhu in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. The chairman of SADC and EAC have both agreed to have the summit seeking to find a solution to the conflict.
Following the agreement between Southern African Development Community Chairperson Emmerson Mnangagwa of Zimbabwe and his East African Community counterpart William Ruto, the 2-day summit will be hosted in Tanzania. Presidents Felix Tshisekedi of the DRC and President Paul Kagame of Rwanda have confirmed attendance at the meeting, which will be preceded by a ministerial meeting on Friday before the heads of state convene on Saturday. President Ruto, having engaged Presidents Cyril Ramaphosa, Yoweri Museveni and Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud, confirmed their participation in the extraordinary summit. Yusufar reporting for Prime Edition.
The Presidential Task Force on Human Resources for Health now wants Parliament to consolidate various laws that inhibit the implementation of universal health coverage. The task force, chaired by Professor Kamarogo, while engaging the National Assembly Health Committee on challenges facing the health sector and required interventions, also indicated that the country lacks data on health care. Here's that report.
The meeting between the Presidential Task Force on Human Resources for Health and the National Assembly Health Committee identified frequent unrest, conflicting laws and inaccurate data as key challenges affecting the implementation of universal health coverage.
KEMSA right now is looking for 5 billion for them to restart because of what they bought and is expiring in the stores there. We've met Kemri. Kemri has a budget of 10 billion a year. We only give them 2.7. The other 7 billion is donor money. So they are not doing our research. They're doing somebody else's research.
The task force chairperson, Professor Kamarogo, asked members of parliament to consolidate various laws to guide the health sector.
So whenever you have a bill coming up to address a certain issue, we would just like you to coordinate with the Ministry of Health and other stakeholders in this sector so that we are not replicating what another act is providing for.
The task force also asked MPs to look into the working relationship between the two principal secretaries in the Ministry of Health. The task force, gazetted by President William Ruto in July last year to provide strategic guidance, found out that the country has no data on the total number of healthcare workers in the country.
Health data, national health data, that is housed by foreigners. It is housed in servers, it is housed in the cloud or wherever else by people who are not Kenyan. They are donors. So how do we address this issue of data? How do we address the fact that we have such disjointed data across the country? We do not understand how many health workers we have, how many are being produced, and no one single source can give us substantive information about our health data.
The issue of lack of data on health providers comes at a time when the country has been reporting numerous strikes among health workers. The task force, however, maintains some of the demands in collective bargaining agreements are unclear and hence cannot be acted on. Gishoke Washira, Prime Edition.
The government is set to hand over the complete units of the affordable housing project in Mukuru in the next 2 months. Among the beneficiaries of the project is Milka Mora. That's the lady whose story hit the headlines, you remember, on social media after being embarrassed by a local televangelist who she asked for help to offset her rent arrears a fortnight ago. The houses will be handed over by President William Ruto.
The saying from grass to grace is evident on Milka Mora, who is set to benefit from the affordable housing in Mukuru 2 weeks after she was embarrassed by a televangelist when she sought help to offset her rent arrears. Her humiliation turning to a blessing in disguise as she bids farewell to a life of a squalor.
Pastor alinirushanisha time yenye nilikuwa namweleza shida zangu. Nikaumika kwa moyo, but nikajipea tu moyo, nikajua Mungu atanitetea kwa kila hali na hiyo shida yenye nilikuwa nimepitia.
The tiny room measuring 9.2 square feet that had been locked by her landlord literally has no space as it is jumbled up with water jerrycans, her personal effects, beddings, and her children. She has been living in a sorry state, faced with risks of caving building with unsafe water for consumption.
Hali yake si mzuri juu hapo hata kwa ground ndio wameweka boholi ya maji na sewage inafikanga ina block. Wenye ina block hiyo sewage inaingia kwa hiyo maji yenye walikuwa wanatupea.
Well-wishers, among them Samuel Ndimu, a Kenyan cop, came to her rescue, raising funds that enable her secure an affordable housing studio at a cost of 640,000 shillings.
Mora lives in Mukuru. She pays a rent of 4,000 Kenya shillings per month, which she had been unable to raise. And luckily, because of Kenyans of goodwill, she now has a job she's paying, which she's getting paid around 18,000 Kenya shillings. And with that, she can be able to afford having a house at one of our major projects, that's Mukuru, where we have over 13,000 units, which are undergoing constructions currently.
She also opted to pay the cost of the house upfront or take up the rent to own model, where she will be required to pay 3,900 shillings per month.
Naweza ambia serikali asante kwa kunisaidia na waendelee tu kunisaidia mahali pa kukaa.
The mother of two in her new abode will enjoy unfettered access to clean water, reticulated gas, social amenities, and automated lift, while her children enjoy learning in a school located in the compound. Michael Mundiga for Prime Edition.
As Mora's story ends well, we take our first break here on Prime Edition. And as Muchuma Odim would say, we're just getting started. Stay with us.
Shilingi 1,000. Toka kwa hiyo sanduku. Stoki. Oh. Kizongo mkungi. Rudisha hiyo pesa kwa sanduku namba 10.
Ongeza ifike 50.
Kwa nini? Anataka ukule popcorn ukitizama runinga, sawa? 100,000 Kenya shillings. Inch TV. Smart. 1,000 Kenya shillings. Yes!
Client still hopes to have a young director, so I strongly recommended you to our boss.
Is this your home? You don't know where to put anything. You can't find this or that. Am I your maid?
Jin Bing. Oh, she shot so many ads. Wow. Won many awards.
You just told me this morning and I forgot.
I strongly recommended you to my boss. Now she wants to meet you, but it's only available this afternoon.
How can this be called hasty? It shows your company is efficient. We can only hope to meet more clients like you.
Simfungulie huyu. Ati? Nimesema sifunguliwe huyu. Sasa basi nakupa ruksa. Nenda ukaishi huko.
Toroka. Rudi mafichoni Kalume utakuja shikwa.
Wewe usinikumbushe Sudi.
Ni nini mpenzi?
Wewe ukitaka kujua mtu mzima na meno 32 nitetee na mpenzi.
Kini? Hakuna cha lakini. Nilikuwepo sikuambiwa.
Habarisha wanakisiwa wote kwamba yeyote atakayeniletea taarifa za aliko Kalume nitampatia donge nono. Hebu toka nje. Toa ama nikumalize. Simama. Simama hapo. Nataka uambie hawa watu lile jambo ulikuja kusema hapa jana usiku.
Back to Prime Edition, our socials at KBC Channel 1. On to the second part of this live broadcast. A section of women from Dagoretti under the Women Peace Caravan in Nairobi County has called on Chief Justice Martha Koome to continue serving Kenyans and ignore those demanding her removal from office. The women cited various projects such as the launch of courts at the sub-county level as the milestone in disseminating justice, stemming calls for her resignation as witch hunt. They have threatened to mobilize for countrywide demonstrations if the clamor continues. Kamchemeza reports.
Led by the Women Peace Caravan Nairobi County Chair Mary Njuguna, the women who gathered in Kawangware came out in defense of Chief Justice Martha Koome, saying they are the biggest beneficiaries of the projects undertaken by the judiciary across the country.
Zamani kesi kipelekwa hata kama ni mtoto amerepiwa ama ni mama akona kesi ya shamba ama ya kupigwa ilikuwa inakaa miaka kama 10. Lakini siku hizi vile koti zimekuja mashinani watu hata hawaendi mbali, unaenda mwezi moja miezi 2 kesi yako inaisha. Watoto siku hizi hawana kesi ile ya kurepiwa na nini, mambo imekuwa sawa. Kwa hivyo wamama mnasema aje? Tumekataa yeye kuingiliwa.
They say the country has come a long way to install a female Chief Justice at the Apex Court, vowing to stand by Koome.
Wale wamama wamechaguliwa, sio wamechaguliwa kwa wao wenyewe. Ni sisi wanakuanga wametuwakilisha. Kwa hivyo hatuwezi kunyamaza tukiona mmoja wetu anadhulumiwa. Sasa kama hawa watoto wetu tunasomesha wasichana, yeye ni role model. Na kama tutakuanga akienda pale mtu akienda mbele anatolewa, si unaona hakuna future? Kwa hivyo future ya mama wetu wakati huu ni Martha Koome, na yeye tunamwambia asimame gangari.
They pleaded for a conducive environment for the Chief Justice to serve Kenyans, saying she should leave when her tenure ends.
Kwa hivyo sisi wakati huu tunajua ya kwamba serikali imesikia. Wale mawakili wameandika hiyo petition wamesikia. Hata wao ni wazaa. Wajua wakiguza mama wameguza mama yao. Wakiguza Martha Koome wameguza shosho yao. Wakiguza Martha Koome wameguza madanda zao.
Currently, there are 2 petitions filed before the court seeking the removal of the Chief Justice from office. Kamchemenza for Prime Edition.
Into the corridors of justice now. Sarah Wairimu Kamodo will spend another 2 weeks at the Langata Women Prison awaiting bail ruling. This is after Kibera High Court reserved its ruling for next week, Tuesday, the 18th of February, after hearing all parties in the murder case where she is accused of killing her Dutch husband, Tob Cohen, way back in 2019. On Monday, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions urged the court to deny her bail, stating that they have 2 protected witnesses that need to testify while she is in custody.
Monday at the Kibera Law Court before Lady Justice Diana Kavesa.
I think you have very able foot soldiers, Your Honor. By Friday, they will have filed the application.
The prosecution through senior counsel Vincent Monda urged the court not to release Sarah Wairimu, stating it will be prejudicial before the 2 key witnesses testify.
That's why, Your Honor, we are apprehensive that should she be released at this stage on bail, then the prosecution will be prejudiced.
This is as victims' lawyers echo the sentiments urging the court to issue an order barring her from accessing the house on Farasa Lane where the incident allegedly happened. However, the defense team through lead counsel Conrad Maloba objected to the move, citing no proof had been availed to show Wairimu circumvented the witnesses protection program.
Since 2019 to date, no evidence has been presented that the accused person has tried to interfere with witnesses, to interfere with the investigations, to tamper with the crime scene.
Wairimu was first arrested in 2019 and charged after the body of her husband Tob Cohen was discovered in a septic tank at the Kitusuru home. However, murder charges leveled against her were terminated in 2022 for lack of enough evidence.
Remember, I am only squeezing you into my appeals course list. Murder cases are handled on Wednesdays and Thursdays. And so she'll have to be remanded until 18th of February.
She was rearrested on Thursday, January 23rd this year, after the DPP Renson Mulele said they have fresh new evidence linking her to the murder. With the prosecution opposing Sarah's release at this juncture, citing it will be a great miscarriage of justice, the defense team now says the standard of proof is based on a balance of probability. Elsewhere, 31-year-old clinical officer has been charged at the Mombasa Law Court with the offense of rape and indecent act on a dialysis patient at a private hospital in Mombasa County. Appearing before Chief Magistrate Alex Ithuku, the suspect Dias Juma Wabwile denied committing the act on 31st January 2025.
Is it true or not true, Dias Juma Wabwile?
The case will be mentioned on 17th February 2025. This is as FIDA Kenya now wants the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council and the Nursing Council of Kenya to suspend the licenses of all those involved until the completion of the investigations.
In addition, as FIDA Kenya, we will file a civil suit against Pandya Memorial Hospital, Mombasa, and seek compensation for the survivor for gross negligence and failure to protect her.
Ruth Wamboi for Prime Edition.
A family in Athi River Sub-County, Machakos County, is seeking justice after their 3.5-year-old son drowned in a manhole in a stalled building in Mlolongo. That's in Machakos County. This comes as police in Athi River have kicked off investigations after the body of a middle-aged man was found Monday at the Mombasa-Namanga Road interchange.
Grief and sorrow painted on Janet Nyaboke's face. Her 3.5-year-old boy died after falling into a manhole at Mlolongo Phase 3 in Athi River, Machakos County. Janet says her only child, who was in good health, fell when he was playing with 3 of his friends at the stalled building.
Mtoto alikuwa sawa, jana ameamka kama sawa, akakula lunch, ile kucheza. Baadaye ndio tulipata ripoti kuna mtoto ameanguka hapo. Mimi nilikuwa kazi, lakini wakati nilikuja nikapata maskari washafika na mwili imetolewa hapa.
Punda na hata nguruwe sa watu wale analisha hapa. Tukitoa kwa hii simo tu, wakati alikuwa amechimba kwa amefunika. Sasa hapa amekupea mtoto tena. Sasa hiyo nataka serikali ichukue hatua kwa mambo kama haya. Ikomeshwa kabisa. Mtu kama ni landlord anakuja kujenga Phase 3. Hakikisha amefunika, ameweka mlango gate na anaweka mandilisha.
Confirming the incident, Athi River East Sub-County Police Commander Anderson Mboya said the matter was reported to Mlolongo Police Station and the body was moved to Kitengela Level 4 Hospital mortuary awaiting autopsy. Still in the same county, police are investigating a bizarre incident in which the body of a middle-aged man was found on Monday at the Mombasa-Namanga Road interchange. The shirtless, unidentified body, which had been tied on the legs with a piece of cloth, was discovered in the valley by passerby. Haki Africa Chief Executive Officer Hussein Khalid said no one has come forward to identify the body. The body is at Shalom Morgue.
Ni wachungaji wa ng'ombe ambao wamepita hapa. Mtu tu alipita na ng'ombe hivi. Ndiye alikonfirm kwamba kuna mtu ako pale amekufa. So ndiye akainform watu wengine sababu kuna pale stage ya boda akainform watu pale.
Serikali akimuweke tu security vizuri. Ndio unaona hii mauaji inaendelea. Hadi kuna mwingine alikuwa ameuawa pale na sijui venye alienda. Kwa hivyo tunaomba mweke security mingi huku na light.
We are looking for over 25 Kenyans who are still not, we still don't know where they were. Some of them were abducted, some of them went missing. So we cannot rule out anything. This body could be belonging to any of those individuals. And we are now allowing the police to do their work, wafanye investigations haraka.
Kasichana Masha, Prime Edition.
Let's now get an update from the county's United Democratic Alliance Party leadership has begun a country-wide popularization program before unveiling its rebranded look following its merger with the Amani National Congress Party. These and other stories in our county news roundup.
UDA party officials who met delegates and members drawn from Amani National Congress Party in Kakamega County highlighted their agenda in uniting Kenyans and leaders with a view of widening leadership in the future of the rebranded party.
Tutaendelea kufuata mikakati kulingana na sheria ya political parties ili tuweze kuunganisha hivi vyama kwa majukumu na malengo ya kuweka nchi pamoja na kuweza kushinda kura mwaka 2027.
And a section of the Meru Council of Elders, commonly known as Njuri Ncheke, has urged political leaders from the region to unite for the development of Meru County.
Tunaomba kitu kimoja. Warundi pamoja wajue ya kwamba interest yao iko nyuma ya interest ya wananchi wa Meru. Warundi nyuma kidogo, wafikirie na waketi pamoja.
Elsewhere, journalists based in Turkana County held peaceful protests in Lodwar town over alleged intimidation and threats from the senior county officials who they say are denying them their freedom to carry out their duties according to the law.
Leo tumekuja hapa, tunataka tukemee tabia hiyo ya kutishia wanahabari na wajue kwamba sisi we are just messengers. Yote ambayo tunapeperusha ni kupeperusha mambo ya ukweli, na watu ambao wametueleza mambo kama hayo ndio sisi tunaongea na kupeperusha mambo hayo. Hatuwezi kubuni mambo yetu sisi wenyewe.
In Kiambu County, over 500,000 farmers across the 60 wards have benefited from maize seeds and fertilizer distributed by the county government to address food insecurity in the county.
Wakulima wa Kiambu wameanza kunufaika na kufaidika kwa kupata mazao bora, sababu ile begu tunawapea inakuwa tumeenda kwa wazalishaji wa begu, tunashughulikiwa na tunachaguliwa ile begu ambayo ni bora kulingana na hali ya anga ya kila eneo.
Finally, Kiharu Member of Parliament Ndede Nyoro has assured his electorates of his commitment to improving education in the sub-county. Nyoro, who attended the launch of the newly renovated classrooms at Mboya Primary School, announced all completed development projects will be renamed in honor of past leaders who made a significant impact in the community to honor their legacy.
Viongozi wakishikana, wakipeana mutisha kama vile wanatupea mutisha kama viongozi wetu wa awali, community inakaa imetulia na maendeleo inakuja ambayo ni ya kufaidi wadosi wetu ambao ni nyinyi mmetuchagua.
Ian Muse for Prime Edition.
Well, we take our first break here on Prime Edition, and coming up, the first new listing at the stocks. Betty Kiptum is coming up with the very latest. Stay with us.
Shilingi 1,000. Toka kwa hiyo sanduku. Stoki. Oh. Kizongo mkuli. Rudisha hiyo pesa kwa sanduku namba 10.
Ongeza ifike 50.
Kwa nini? Anataka ukule popcorn ukitizama runinga, sawa? 100,000 Kenya Inch TV. 1,000 Kenya shillings. Yes!
A very good evening to you. Thank you very much for watching Prime Edition. Time to get the latest in the world of business. My name is Betty Kiptum. Now, Sri Krishna Overseas Limited, a packaging solutions provider, has announced plans to list on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. The firm's managing director, Sonveer Singh, says SKL will leverage on the Nairobi Securities Exchange to access working capital for expansion.
Kenya is among the 5 African countries that have not had any new company going public by listing its shares for trading on the Security or Stock Exchange over the past 10 years. The Nairobi Securities Exchange is yet to register new listing since 2015, when Stalib Fahari was listed raising 3.6 billion shillings. Shri Krishna Overseas Limited has expressed interest to list on the Nairobi Securities Exchange by way of introduction this July.
Company is good. I'm not complaining. It is, but it has the limitations. In listed is more easier, systematic way, more compliance, independent boards, so many things. Even I think in a different way, whether my children are interested or not interested doesn't matter in my business.
The listing will enable the family-owned packaging company tap into private equity as well as enhance accountability through better governance.
We have made the significant strides toward creating a company that will not only be a leader in packaging sector, but will also contribute to the economic growth of our nation, Kenya.
Move to list on the NSE is not just about SKL's growth, but also about strengthening our economy as a country, creating new avenues for investment and enhancing Kenya's position as a hub for innovation and industry leadership.
The government has been asked to offer tax incentives for companies going public.
fostering growth, transparency, and investor confidence. The listing of SKL is not just a win for the company, but a beacon of opportunity for investors and a signal of trust in the strength of the Kenyan market.
If successful, Shri Krishna Overseas Limited will be the first packaging solutions company to be listed on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Now, plans are underway to increase the land under irrigation to at least 1 million acres over the next 5 years by increasing investments in water harvesting, storage reservoirs, and optimizing infrastructure. Irrigation Principal Secretary, that is Fantas Kimotho, says 80% of Kenya's landmass is classified as arid and semi-arid areas with enormous agricultural potential that, if fully tapped, will address food insecurity and reduce reliance on imports. Kimotho says desiltation of water pans and sinking boreholes in arid and semi-arid areas will mitigate against water and fodder challenges.
Of ASAL, we have arable land in ASAL, but 80% of our country is ASAL, and we have arable land. The only challenge we have in the ASAL is that we don't have water. So again, NISIP tries to address the issue of water security. We are looking at how we can be able to build water structures, build dams, build check dams from the laggers. We are looking forward to having various engagements. We'll be having various memorandum of understanding with them with an intention of coming up with a program that will be able to catalyze private capital, because in this program, most of the we entail to get almost 70%. From 30% of it may be funded by government, but 70% of it will be mainly be funded by 30% of it will be funded by government and development partners. 70% we expect it to be funded by private sector and climate funding.
Across borders now, South Africa has threatened to mobilize Africa to withhold its minerals from the United States in response to a threat by U.S. President Donald Trump to cut off funding to South Africa over its land policy. South Africa's Minister of Mineral and Petroleum Resources, Gwende Mantashe, responded in an ex-post that if the U.S. cuts its funding, Africa should not give America minerals.
President Cyril Ramaphosa defended South Africa's land policy after U.S. President Donald Trump's threat to cut off funding because of what he said were land confiscations. Trump said, and I quote, "South Africa is confiscating land and certain classes of people being treated very badly," end of quote, adding that he would cut funding until the matter was investigated. In January, South Africa enacted into law a bill that sets forth new guidelines for land expropriation, including enabling the government to seize land without compensation in some cases. Ramaphosa said the law was not a confiscation instrument, but a legal process that ensures public access to land in an equitable and just manner as guided by the Constitution. Meanwhile, Trump has hinted the European Union could be the next to face tariffs on EU goods imported into the United States, which he said could happen pretty soon. Trump told journalists that there is a high trade imbalance between the European Union and the US, especially on cars, food and farm produce. The 27-member bloc has condemned Trump's decision to move ahead with tariffs against Canada, Mexico and China, and warned that it will respond firmly if it also becomes a target. On trade with the UK, the US president said the country has been out of line, but added that the issues could be resolved. Trump says the sweeping tariffs that he has imposed on Mexico, Canada and China may cause a short-term pain for Americans as global stock markets are tumbled on concerns that the levies will spark an economically damaging trade war. Trump plans to hold talks with the leaders of Canada and Mexico, which have announced retaliatory tariffs of their own, but downplayed expectations that they would change his mind. US President Trump's tariffs will cover almost half of all US imports and will require the United States to more than double its own manufacturing output to cover the gap. Economists said the US president's plan to impose 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico and 10% tariffs on China, which are the United States' three largest trading partners, will slow global growth and drive prices higher for Americans. The Chinese yuan, Canadian dollar and Mexican peso all slumped against the soaring dollar.
And that is it on the business news this evening. Sports news is coming up with Daniel Wahome. My name is Betty Kiptum. Do have yourself a good night. Bye-bye.
Shilingi 1000. Toka kwa hiyo sanduku. Stoki. Kizongwe mkuli. Rudisha hiyo pesa kwa sanduku namba 10.
Ongeza ifike 50.
Kwa nini? Anataka ukule popcorn ukitizama runinga, sawa? 100,000 Kenya shillings! Inch TV Smart 1,000 Kenya shillings! Yes!
Wellness is important in our daily lives, so that instead of just surviving, we should be thriving.
Ways to prevent a stroke or heart attack is for you to know what conditions you have. By regular checkup, people don't know they have hypertension, they don't know they have diabetes.
I was pre-diabetic. I was afraid of getting lifestyle diseases because I come from a family that has lifestyle diseases.
How do you know if your cough is due to a serious condition? We'll have some answers. Stay well
and strive to make every day a healthy day.
Daniel Wahome, and welcome to Prime Edition Sport. Kenya's USIU ladies hockey team suffered their first defeat of the Africa Cup for Hockey Club Championships currently ongoing in Ismailia, Egypt. USIU went down by a goal to nil to Smuha Club of Egypt to end their perfect record at the tournament that began on the 30th of last month. USIU began the continental tournament well by beating Al Nazri by 3 goals in their opening match, then went on to beat counterpart Mombasa Sports Club 1-0 before today's loss. In the men's competition, Kenyan side Western Jaguars suffered a heavy 6-0 loss to Port Fouad of Egypt, while Sharki of Egypt thrashed Nigerian side Niger Flickers 7-0 in one-sided encounters. The tournament will take a break tomorrow before the matches resume on Wednesday ahead of the final set for Friday this week. Now, the national under-23 wheelchair basketball team will be out to secure their place on the world stage during the African qualifiers for the 2025 IWBF Under-23 Men's Championship in Johannesburg, South Africa. The team has been training at Kasarani in readiness for the qualifiers and left the country this morning.
The team of 12 has been intensifying training ahead of the international assignments, where they will be expected to rise the occasion this time round, aiming to make a podium finish. The Maurice Ouma Charges left the country in high spirits and are looking for a stellar performance, having been boosted by fresh talents who are ready to take the sport to the next level. The 2025 IWBF Under-23 Men's Africa qualifiers will be held from tomorrow to the 13th of this month at the Madeville Indoor Sports Arena in Johannesburg, South Africa. It will serve as a qualifier for the World Championship scheduled for Sao Paulo, Brazil later this year, with only one spot up for the grabs for the African participating teams.
Now, Kenya Police and Tusker FC have remained in control of this season's FKF Premier League. Both tied on 37 points after match day 19. Police, though, edged Tusker on a better goal difference to stay above their rivals.
Tusker FC have scored the most goals in the FKF Premier League, 7 more than Kenya Police, but have also conceded 12 more than Police to settle in second position on the table behind Police on goal difference. The two have 37 points each in position 1 and 2, 6 points ahead of Gor Mahia, who have a game in hand. AFC Leopards, who have also played 18 games like Gor Mahia, are fourth on the table with 29 points, same as KCB and Bandari, who are 5th and 6th respectively, all separated by a goal difference.
Bani. Keisio Diambo! Chui wa Pombele!
Shabana, Kakamega Homeboys, Sofapaka and Ulinzi Stars are the other teams in the top 10 after a round of 19. Nairobi City Stars, Bidco United and Posta Rangers have 17 points each after 19 matches and are lined up in the danger zone just behind Talanta FC.
Now, Arsenal moved to within 6 points of English Premier League leaders Liverpool by thrashing Manchester City 5-1 at the Emirates Stadium. The Gunners, who knew only a victory would suffice, with Liverpool opening a commanding lead at the top of the table after winning at Bournemouth, responded by overpowering the fading champions in emphatic fashion.
To Akanji. Trossard got a foot in, Rice helps it on, Havertz inside, Erdegaard, second minute.
And that's the sport for tonight. Thank you for being with us. More coming your way tomorrow as we build up to the Athletics Kenya National Cross Country Championships that are slated for Eldoret on Saturday. My name is Daniel Wahome. Have a good evening. Back to you, Tom.
I want to thank you very much, Daniel Wahome, for that sporty update. Of course, earlier on, Betty Kiptum was there. She talked to us, painting a picture how the business space looked at. And I want to also thank our sign language interpreter, Lensa Odingo, ever smiling. Thank you very much for a good job done. There's a team in the back end, the Prime Edition team, including our director. Good job, guys. We'll be back again here tomorrow from all of us. Good evening, good night. God bless you. My name is Mboya. Bye-bye. We'll see you again tomorrow.